Welcome, everybody, back to another episode of Adoption, a Breakdown, where we break down adoption and other things. Today, you might be able to tell it is the first, well, not the first day of college football games, but the first big weekend of college football games. Yesterday was the first day of college football games, uh, but today was the first Saturday of college football games, which leads me to the big M. That's right, Michigan. Big Ten champs. Look at that. Look at that shirt. Look at that shirt. Big Ten champs. Yup. Anywho, I need to not yell. I need to relax. I need to relax. Yeah. So today I'm gonna go in a little bit of a review for the Michigan Wolverines football program. Today they played Colorado State and they won 51-7. Pretty par for the course for Michigan. Colorado State just isn't at the level of a football program that can really give Michigan a run for its money. I don't even remember the last time Colorado State was ranked in the top 25. Couldn't tell you. And Michigan's been a routinely, top 10, top 12, top 14 team. Last year we ended at number 2. So that's pretty good. But there's very interesting things happening at Michigan right now because there's a big quarterback battle between Cade McNamara and J.J. McCarthy. And right now, from what I've seen online and different YouTube channels, different social media posts, lots of Michigan fans want to bring in J.J. McCarthy, the young gun, and have him really start the games and just be the starter. And it was recently announced that next week JJ will be starting the games against Hawaii. And to be fair, today against Colorado State after halftime, first half, after halftime, they pulled out Cade and they put JJ in, and JJ made a lot of really good plays, made a lot of decent passes. He made some good runs, but some people look at the data from this game and they call the yardage on the stat sheet fluff yardage, cotton candy yardage, because it was against a soft team, and so therefore shouldn't have as much weight against a top school, a Big Ten opponent. Somebody like a Michigan State, Penn State, Nebraska, of course, Ohio State. Teams of Wisconsin. Teams of that caliber. And so Michigan made a lot of good plays. The skill positions made a lot of good highlight reels. But it's the first game of the year. It's an easy opponent. Some of this yardage is just kind of padding stats, and we won't really know a lot about where Michigan is at until I believe it's Maryland in week 5. I could be wrong. I may need to double check that. But Maryland, I believe, is the first road bump that Michigan has to face. And, to the credit of Michigan or the other schools, or however they scheduled this year's, schedule, these first 4 weeks are pretty easy, and so it's kind of almost an extended preseason. And actually, it's a really good time for Cade and JJ to have a quarterback battle because it lets them get real reps. It lets them feel the intensity and be under the lights and be in front of the crowds. And, they both got really good, valuable playing time last year, but I think last year um, it was more of a team effort. And I didn't watch the video, but I saw a video title on YouTube. I'm sorry, I don't remember the channel. It may have been the Michigan football channel, but it was a brief clip of Cade talking about how he was surprised about there being a quarterback battle this year. And so what that tells me is that this year, these next 3 weeks, this week and this next 3 weeks, as Cade and JJ are fighting this quarterback battle, there's another level, there's another layer that now Cade and JJ, maybe they don't feel as friendly and, all happy-go-lucky with each other now as maybe they did last year, where last year was very, we're going to beat Ohio State or die trying, and they did, Big Ten champs. They smoked Iowa, and then we don't talk about what happened afterwards, because, but no, so these next 3 weeks, I think, are extremely critical of what will happen for the Michigan football program. I think based on who is the starter, I'm going to make a prediction right now. I think based on these next 3 weeks, whoever is made the starter, whoever wins the quarterback job, they should, at the end of these next 3 weeks before Maryland, that will determine whether or not we can defeat Ohio State. Now, let's be completely honest. I personally feel like because it's at Columbus, because the Buckeyes want revenge, because Jim Harbaugh made that comment about some people were born on third base and think they hit a triple. That's bulletin board material for the Buckeyes. There's a lot of chip on the shoulder now for the Buckeyes, whereas there was a huge block on our shoulder for the longest time, and now it's reversed a little bit. And so, all that to say, I think Ohio State right now, if they played tomorrow, would beat Michigan. And it's mainly because we don't have our quarterback situation all the way figured out. And in these next 3 weeks, we need to figure it out. We need to get all the details hammered out. We can't have any questions going into Maryland because that's when the rubber meets the road. That's when real bullets start flying. And my prediction at this point in time, which, quick aside, I made a prediction last year that was correct. Before we played Michigan State, my prediction was if we have one loss, I would prefer it be to Michigan State so that we go wounded tiger against Ohio State and beat Ohio State, and that happened. Bookmark it. But anyway. So, all I have to say, I believe the road to success to beat Ohio State, the Ohio State Buckeyes, is for J.J. McCarthy. I think he's I forget which number he is. I'm sorry, it's either 9 or 14 or 12. It's one of those low numbers. J.J. McCarthy has to win the quarterback job sometime these next 3 weeks. And between those weeks and up till Columbus, J.J. McCarthy has to get as much playing time as he can. He has to get as many reps as he can because I think the fans and a lot of people know is J.J. McCarthy's potential, his ceiling is just so high. It's extraordinarily high. He has a strong arm. He just needs to throw the ball more, hone in those windows that he needs to throw into. He has Obviously, he can run with his feet really well. He's pretty agile for a quarterback. We saw that today, and he can hand off the ball. He can do fakes. He can do this. He can do that. Now, the thing that J.J. McCarthy lacks is experience. J.J. doesn't have experience. He doesn't have all the game knowledge. He doesn't have all the game instincts, because quarterbacks, there's a certain point where you become so skilled as a quarterback that it takes you what 1.5 seconds to go through your progressions, maybe another half second to read the defense, and then to make a split second decision based off of the progressions, based off the defense, that you're either going to go with your game plan or you're going to do something else. You're going to run, you're going to check down, you're going to throw a bomb, you're going to do this, and you're going to do that. And so as a quarterback, you have to be able to make all those split second decisions incredibly fast, because the O-line, you only get 3-4 seconds, on average. And so 3.5 seconds, quarterback has to have made a solid decision that is the best for the team at that moment. And so J.J. McCarthy, while he played last year a few times, last year he also had fumbles. People could say that I think he fumbled in the game against Michigan State, and that was a turnover. And some people say, well, hey, if J.J. McCarthy doesn't turn the ball over against Michigan State, we win. Of course, there are other things that people say that we should have won against Michigan State for, which, by the way, me and my dad are going to the Michigan State game October 29th, so I'm hyped about that because it's the first time I've gone to the Michigan Stadium, the big house. Super excited about that. But anyway, so all that to say, my prediction for the only way for Michigan to beat Ohio State is if J.J. McCarthy wins the quarterback job, he develops, he improves, he gets better, he understands the instincts he needs as a quarterback to make all the strategic decisions and the split-second time frames that he has in order to be able to pick apart the defense, in order to be hard to read and hard to understand from the defensive coordinator's viewpoint. Because the drawback of waiting till the end to play against Ohio State is that they're watching your tape too. We're watching their tape, they're watching our tape. And so you can't just go into that game with a one or two dimensional plan where you're going to where you say we're going to commit to this and this and this, we're going to play this play and this and play. You have to be sneaky. You have to maybe save some cards that you don't reveal, that you don't show at all until that game. I think we all know that the flea flickers did Michigan wonders last year, but I'm not sure if the flea flicker will be as effective as it was last year, this year, because people have seen it now. People have been planning against it. People have been saying, in this position when it's third quarter or fourth quarter and Michigan is tied with us, or Michigan is a touchdown away or 3 points behind, and they put in JJ, they're going to either run or they're going to go for a flea flicker on third down and whatever. And so because that's the situation, you guys as the safeties and the corners and the linebackers on the D, you guys have to be able to be ready to call an audible. You guys have to be ready to switch it up. You guys have to communicate with each other, and you have to look for what's happening, because though this situation with this context means that Michigan and JJ, they might do a flea flicker. And so not just Ohio State, they're not just thinking about that. Michigan State's thinking about that. Penn State's thinking about that. And even I think we play Nebraska. Nebraska's thinking about that. I think we play Iowa too. Iowa's thinking about that. I mean, we kind of blew up Iowa, but no guarantees. Knock on wood. So I think a lot of people think that going into the Columbus final game, the Buckeyes will be undefeated, Michigan will be undefeated, and it'll be a fight for the Big Ten championship and a playoff berth, which it probably should be. Um, so right now, if I were to make a prediction, which it's way too early to make a accurate prediction, but if I were to make a prediction as to what the record for Michigan would be at the end of the year, I was on the fence about this, and I've been saying that I think right now, tomorrow, the Buckeyes beat Michigan, but I'm going to go against my better judgment, and I'm going to make a guess that Michigan beats Ohio State. And our record is, 11-0, 12-0, whatever, going into the playoffs, going into the Big Ten championship. And here's why. Here's my reasoning why. Because this isn't. It may seem like an emotional statement, but it's not. It was an emotional, cynical statement of me before saying that the Buckeyes are going to beat us. Here's why I think Michigan could win. Because of the decisions that Jim and Michigan have been making so far about the quarterback battle. Gnat flew by. I must destroy the net. What I'm trying to say is that, what was it, a week ago? Jim announced that Cade was going to start against Colorado State week 1, and he announced JJ was going to start against Hawaii week 2. And I think a lot of people were very surprised by that. I think myself included. I think a lot of people, we're like, what? We're going to start JJ week 2 against Hawaii, and that's officially what we're doing? Really? Okay, that's great. I think people are very happy about that, but I think a lot of people expected us to do what we did last year, which was kind of do this. Cade starts, gets us ahead. We have cushion of points, and then fourth quarter we put in JJ, let him score a touchdown, see if he can run and play and do stuff and make the right play calls and stuff. It was more like Cade played 75% of the time, 60% of the time, and JJ played 25% or 40% of the time. But Jim and Michigan, OC, DCs, whoever's in charge over there, they have made the surprising decision to switch it up. So that tells me that somebody over there wants to develop JJ. They want JJ McCarthy to grow. They want him to get better. They want him to get reps. They want him, to be perfectly honest, I think there might be some head honchos, some big cheeses over there that I think there might be some big guys over at Michigan that want JJ to be the reason why we beat the Buckeyes. And to be frankly honest, I think he's the only way we can. I think the only way we beat the Buckeyes is if J.J. McCarthy is the starter. He's played the majority of the games up until that point. He's grown, he's developed, he's gotten smarter, more strategic. He has all the natural physical gifts. He just needs the mental prowess. And so I say that Michigan could win this year only because I feel like there might be some head honchos at Michigan that they're moving all their chips up onto JJ. And, the fans, I think they all really want that to happen. And I think if that's happening, which I think it is happening, I think we have a decent chance to beat the Buckeyes, the Ohio State Buckeyes, back to back in their own home, in their own house. I don't know. I don't know. So that is today's video. A little Michigan football review talk information. So I know it's a little bit of a straying away from my normal random videos, but it's football season. I'm really into Michigan, really into football. Love watching football in Michigan, football with my dad, and I'm excited to go see them play against Michigan State with my dad. Also, shout out to Roman Wilson, who is a receiver at Michigan. I've talked to him on live streams online in the off season. He's a cool guy. He's not very good at golf, but he's a cool guy. So, shout out Roman Wilson. Congrats on that that touchdown today. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.